everybody? All right, a little bit more enthusiasm. I like that. Well, this morning I'm going to go over a bunch of things that I want to make sure everybody hears. I know not everybody in the division could be here because we have people back in our offices, but we are audio taping, and then we'll have the slides for individuals who couldn't be here. So please make sure that any of your colleagues who were not able to be here are fully informed. It's very important to me that we communicate and cascade information from the Vice President's office throughout the division and from the division up through the Vice President's office because it's a two-way street. So first of all, let me just make a few general comments and then I'm going to get into the slides. It's been my pleasure to serve as your Vice President for Student Affairs and Enrollment Management over, I guess it's almost 15 months or so, depending on if you count the month I went back to Texas to PAC. But it's really been a great experience, and I'm really happy to get to know many of you and to work with you. I think we have really gone out there and tried to establish a very bold vision, for our division, taking some cues from where the President is going with some things, and again, very, very happy of the things that we've gotten accomplished. I really am looking forward to the new challenges and opportunities that we have this year with the things that we have set, and I hope you will be feeling that also. I don't often get in front of most of you and talk about things, and everybody's busy and doing their thing in their own departments, and we have a certain number of things we get together for in meetings. But I really want you to know how much I appreciate your support, both for our students, our division, and our university, and also our community. And I'll talk a little bit about how we work with the community here today. I think 2014 and 15 was a great year, and it's because of all of you. Without all of you, it should be very clear, but sometimes leaders don't say this. Despite whatever vision I may come up with, or despite whatever things I think we should do, this is a team game. Leadership is a team game. And without all of your efforts and all the things that you do, we don't accomplish the vision that we have. We don't accomplish the goals that we have. So again, I'm so appreciative that we have done the things we have. And I think when you see some of the things, both in the report today and the annual report that we'll get you in the next few weeks, that you have a lot to be proud about. And if you're not feeling energized and proud of all that you do, I hope I'll change your mind today, because it's been a great year and some wonderful things have happened. And I think we're really poised for the future, and I really believe the sky's the limit. We've been able to get some more funding through the course of this year. We've been able to support our people in some other different ways. And I don't know about you, but I am incredibly enthusiastic about our trajectory and where we're going into the future. And again, we're going to need all of us, all the teammates here in the room, all the leaders. I think of everybody as a leader. And we're going to need all of you to jump on board and move forward with us. So I really do appreciate everything you do, and if I don't get to go around to your office every day or bring you coffee and say, hey, thank you so much for all that you do, but I do appreciate it. I do think of all of you throughout things. So let's move to the next slide here, Mary. She's helping me because I'm kind of a one-arm bandit here these days. The story is I was dunking a basketball left-handed. I got caught on the rim. I tore my rotator cuff, and that's how we got here. For those of you who believe that, I have swampland in Florida that I'm trying to get down. So we started this year with 8 broad goals for the division. I'm going to talk a little bit about that, the accomplishments, some of the awards, the grants, and the challenges as we move forward. The 8 goals that we had, and I'm not going to talk about everything that's up there. We'll give you a copy of this, so you don't have to take notes on all of this. Anything that's up on the screen you'll get, but if there's something else I live on, you can jot that down if you think it's really poetic or really great. But we had eight goals last year. Given some of the changes in the division, and that international is now more focused on the academic programs. We'll move to 7 goals next year because it really was a stretch for us to do some things in that area. We'll always be good partners to them, but there's not enough that we're doing in that arena that really necessitated the 8th goal, is what the leadership group had thought. As far as the strategic document, I think Lydia had something like 48 to 50 pages of different things that all of you have come up with that we want to do. What I've asked the leadership group is to take a look at that document one more time and basically really look at which of these things are strategic and which of these things are operational. And those that are strategic and rise to that level, we will then put in our strategic document moving forward, and we will, put it on the web page and, parade it out to different people, and everybody will know that this is what the strategic initiatives are for this year. The operational ones, the day-to-day things, I know you're doing those things, and obviously we need to track things. We've tried to come up with some information to make it easier for you in terms of looking at the goal itself, how you will assess it, when you will get it done by, who's going to be the people, the individuals will do it, and I think we've gotten more organized with all of that this year moving forward. So many accomplishments that we've had this year, and again, I'm not going to read all of these to you. Next slide, Mary. Next. And so many accomplishments throughout this year. All of your departments, I'm again very proud of the work that we've done. But you can see one of the new things, we had the food security. We had about 7 or 8 different initiatives. We fed a lot of people, and we're doubling the hours this year and in a new facility. The hope is that in the future we'll have a standalone house. We have a donor that right now looks like will hopefully in the next year we'll be able to announce that they will give us a gift. And moving forward, we reorganized the division. I'm committed to the reorganization for at least 2 to 3 years to make sure that it's working the way I wanted it to work and the way we thought it would work. Clearly, after about 3 years, if we see that some things haven't panned out the way we want, we'll look at it again. But I'm committed to it through the long haul. I hope that the way we've aligned people will work. Obviously, we've worked very hard on our strategic plan. One of the things that I'll talk a little bit more is the university strategic plan later. Our budget, we've looked at what positions we can enhance, bring back, new. It's hard for me, when I talk to people, some people will say, I'll say, we have a new position going to X department, and somebody will say, no, it's not really new. We used to have that. And so I wasn't here, so I don't know. And I haven't found any records that really show me what we had, what we lost, and where we are. So I'm just moving forward with a lot of things. And these will be new positions that we'll put into place. And some of you have been the recipients of those in your departments as we move forward. Aligning our resources and doing the things that we want. Next one, Mary, please. The more accomplishments, obviously, in terms of some of the things we've done. The new health center lobby, some people haven't seen that. It's the first phase. It looks fantastic. And hopefully in the next year or so, we'll be able to do the rest of the building, funds permitting, and moving forward. Welcome Week last year and this year, last year we pulled it off, and I know some people were kicking and screaming on the way there because the new vice president last summer said, what are we doing for Welcome Week? And people said, we don't do Welcome Week other than what the residence halls were doing for those residential students. I said, we need to do that. We need to welcome our students. We had a great dog days with wonderful energy. We can't just let them start school and walk around and not knowing what building they're going to. And so we pulled together last year and did a great Welcome Week for as well. And I thought it was fantastic. But the energy even this year I think is even better. The convocation, I've done convocations at a number of different institutions. I've never been affiliated with one that was any better. And I've never done one the first time where we had 2,200 people. So kudos to all of you. That was fantastic. The energy that I felt that day and since on campus has just been extraordinary. And I hope that, again, that this is helpful to all of you who sometimes probably think, boy, it's another Llamas thing. Why does he want us to do this? What is the reason behind that? And so I hope that sometimes you'll see that it's a Llamas thing. I've done a lot of these things at other institutions. They work really well. And so we always want to do it Fresno style, though. We want to do it for Fresno State. And so we will do some new things, and we will take these challenges and opportunities and move forward with it. I'm very pleased with our behavior intervention team and the 3 subgroups within it. We'll have more discussions around that in terms of our care team, our sexual assault team, and our threat assessment team. I think that'll be a great enhancement for the university and for our students as we move forward. The It's On Us campaign last year in the video that our students and staff did was fantastic. Really like it. The new student success team that we started last year, I think, we kind of got moving. I think this year it's going to be even better. We have 6 areas that we're going to concentrate on, and many of you will be part of those subgroups. And I think it's pretty clear to me, having now been involved in 2 meetings with the president and an outside consultant on the new strategic plan, that you're going to see student success as the #1 goal that's going to just jump out at you. And, listening to President Castro for the last 2 years, those of you who've been here, you know that is his #1 thing. And I think we're all over student success. Everything we do is about student success. For those of you who haven't come through a higher ed background or counseling background or some of the areas, How College Affects Students by Pasquarella and Terenzini, it's the Bible on student success. It's about this thick. Definitely puts you asleep at night if you have any kind of insomnia. But that book and its iterations, it's so clear that student success is about all that we do in this division, all that we do, along with our partners in other divisions and academic affairs and others. But we are all about that. And so that strategic plan is really tailored in many ways to us, and you will see some of that. $204 million to our students last year. Any place that I've ever been in my entire career, I have never seen $204 million. When you see the people in financial aid with the bags under their eyes, you know why. Because these people are working hard every day to, package students. And you wish that all students would be on time and everything would be done in March and everything was just flow easily. And then obviously the federal government selects people to be checked, which is just so wonderfully fun for everybody. But, $204 million for our students to be successful. I mean, that just has to tell you 70% of our students are on Pell Grants. 70% of our students are first generation, just about. We can make such a difference, whether it's financial aid, what we do in the cross-cultural center, supplemental instruction, tutoring, the outreach people, grabbing these people when they first get here, the career development center, helping them with resumes and how to dress for success and get a job. I mean, everything you do, if you don't see this, let me paint the picture for you. Everything you do is so critically important to the lives of our students, and it may be the difference between someone making it and someone not making it here. We have set a goal for 7 out of 10 of our students to be successful and graduate. We know that changes their life. We know it changes their family's life. We know it changes maybe their immediate family, their kids' lives. I would like us to set the goal at 10 out of 10, not 7. I don't know how many of you have 7 kids in your family. I don't. I have 4, and that's quite enough as far as I'm concerned. But if you had 10 kids, you wouldn't say, gee, I want these 7 over here to be successful. And heck with the other 3. They'll live with me forever. You wouldn't do that. And I'm not Pollyannish enough to be able to say here today that I know that that's going to happen. I know the struggles. I know the difficulties. I was a first-generation student who paid my way through undergrad, graduate, PhD. I know what that's like. I did not grow up with a silver spoon. But I would never want to discount even one student here. We have that opportunity through all the things that we do and all these accomplishments and all the scholarships that Greg and his staff give out to people, and all the things that are done. So we have that opportunity. You go to the next slide, Mary. We have all these new hallmark, I call them hallmark areas, sometimes signature buildings. I have all this language that I use that maybe some of you like or don't like. But to me, we've got a lot of new hallmark areas. There we go. That we're going to be working on this year. And these are things that we're obviously putting time and energy into as we move ahead. I was kind of blown away when I saw the 12,000 students in supplemental instruction. I mean, that's a heck of a lot of people. I don't know if those are repeats or individual students, from our population, but either way, it's a whole lot of students. 76,000 tests. Next slide, Mary. 76,000 tests. I mean, I don't even know. Now I know why the line whips around the library down to the Peace Garden and to the North Gym. We should probably just have a program, a health program that the rec people do at the North Gym, and have, they can play recreational basketball until they get their cue. I mean, we do miracles. We do miracles in that office. I mean, we have a space of about, 100 spaces or so, and we try to get every student tested. And it's been increasing, I'm told, about 30% a year for God knows how many years. We've got some challenges there in terms of space that we're going to address, but it's pretty incredible that many individuals. Enrollment management, now I saw they gave me 25,000 in this report, but I've heard 30,000, so I don't know whether they missed 5,000 files or if it's, what's going on. But 25,000 students to review in a given year is quite impressive. And so many things haven't been accomplished, and I can't go through everything that we've done, but this should hopefully, again, give you a really clear picture that so much is happening that's good across the division. Let's go to the next page, Mary. Challenges. So what are some of our challenges as I see them? So obviously, cultural transition. You had a new vice president a year ago, 15 months ago. Guy went from New York to Texas to California. You're probably wondering, what is he going to be all about? Hopefully you know what I'm all about by now. Hopefully you know where I want to help lead us. Hopefully you know that I care about you. I care about what we do. I will do everything I can to help you get the resources to make things happen. But I'm very much a can-do, get-it-done guy. So I'm not someone to sit. I have a sense of urgency, always have in my career. I want us not to be complacent, but I do understand that change is difficult, but I will never ask you to do anything change for change's sake. That's not what I'm about. It's not about let's change it because I want it my way. It's let's change it if we think this is going to make it a better situation for our students, our division, our university. Change in general can take us to a better place if we manage change in the appropriate way. But we obviously also have to respect the work that's been done and build on the work that's been done for many years, because there's been a lot of great things that have happened in this division, far beyond any time I ever arrived on this campus. And so it's a matter of respecting the work of the past, building on the work for the future as things change and we move forward. We obviously have to focus on our vision and goals. We were at the leadership retreat on Friday, and we keep looking at our mission, vision, core values, all that stuff. We'll have more for you. We've been tweaking it over the summer. We've asked you for feedback on a number of things. Honestly, for me, the biggest thing is I've wanted to kind of reduce it to shorter statements that are a little bit more impactful, and one that you could do in an elevator speech if somebody asked you, well, what's the vision of Division of Student Affairs? And you could say that in like 10 seconds. Or what is the mission for the division? What do you do? What are your core values? That if somebody were to ask you these questions, they would just roll off your tongue. Well, when these things are paragraphs, long paragraphs with lots of stuff, it's kind of hard to do that. So we are still, it's a work in progress. We talked a little bit about budget and personnel, facilities. One of the challenges that I see are facilities. We're looking at a feasibility study for a student union and faculty center. We actually, I believe it's the 21st to the 23rd. I've asked Melissa Giannotti to be our point person to get every single group at the university, students, faculty, staff, everyone to have an opportunity to meet with the architects from Stantec who are doing this feasibility study. There'll be times during the day, there'll be times at night, there'll be forums of different kinds. I hope that you all come out and tell us what you think that new facility should look like and what we should have in there and what do we need. Where should it be? Some people feel it should be, on Shaw and, over where the campus labs are, and maybe those old buildings should go away. Other people think it should be over near the Satellite Student Union or elsewhere. We have to make decisions on location, size, what goes in there, things that we're going to do there. What is it we want for Fresno State? Because every union that you look at different campuses has different components based on the mission of the university and what it is that you do. So we'll be moving on that. I hope that by the end of this semester, we'll be moving on building a turf field. We've looked at where the band practice field is as the potential location for it. It has lights already and some other things. It would be a shared facility. It would be funded by some of the dollars that the president, myself, the provost, and the business VP. And then we're looking at potentially other fields where we'll have to fundraise and try to get the money to do some things. Looking at open spaces, it took me probably 6 months and people making fun of me that I couldn't find the, what's it called, the amphitheater, thank you. I was going to say the arboretum, but that's not right. The amphitheater. And everybody kept saying, well, you just go down that way and look to your right. And I was like, I don't see an amphitheater there. And then I get on the golf cart and I start driving around. Still can't find the amphitheater. I said, it's like a Where's Waldo book. Where the heck did they put the amphitheater? And then I finally found it, and I was like, that looks like a grassy knoll to me. And, if that's an amphitheater, it's not like anyone I've ever seen. Maybe it's a California thing. They're more ecologically into the background or something. I don't know. But honestly, that's probably not the place because it's right near academic buildings and everybody's going to be disturbed. But we have to find spaces for our students. We have such wonderful weather here normally, and we need to use the outdoor spaces to complement the indoor ones. So we'll be looking more at that. This whole notion of commuter school, I'd like to say that this is my first time dealing with that notion, but unfortunately for me, I have been at a few institutions that at the very beginning of my time there, people would say, well, we're a commuter school, things don't happen at a commuter school. We can't do those things. I mean, our students won't come out. They don't want the same things that every other college student in the country wants, and, all these other things, and I usually get a little exasperated by, the thinking of that because I just find it to be old thinking and just passé. This last year we've done so many events that had we not done them, people would still say, well, people won't come out. Well, we've had thousands of people. We had thousands of people come out for the convocation. We at Freswalla, we've had thousands of people come out. The rec center has thousands of people every year that go there. We're not much different. But one of the things we are different is some places that are commuter schools, all of their students are commuting vast distances and a lot of time. Half of our students, you've heard me say this, some of you before, half of our students live within 10 miles of the university. So 12,000 students. I mean, how happy would you be if you did any program and 12,000 people came to it? Or 6,000, half of them. Half of them live within 10 miles. Get over it. We are no more commuter than UT Austin is with 50,000 and 8,000 living on campus. No one would ever call that institution that. Very few schools in the country are totally residential. Small privates, places like that. We need to reach our students with our programs, our services, and all the things that we have. If you go out just another 5 miles, 3/4 of our students live within 15 miles. Fresno is not LA or San Francisco. I even know that by now. It does not take, places like that might take you an hour and a half, 10 miles or whatever. Here, I commute in from Clovis, Quail Lake, and it takes me 15 to 17 minutes, and I'm not speeding here. So our students are close enough to do it. The challenge is that all of us, you, me, everybody else, we've got to have the right programs, the right services, the right things going on that they want to come back for. We've got to ask them what it is they want in their college experience. We've got to be a little bit more, I guess, intentional with our assessment, with our other stuff, because, I may think, wow, that's the greatest program in the whole world. I'm behind it. I've done it for 20 years at Fresno State or maybe at the last 3 institutions. But if our students, that doesn't resonate with them, that's not something they're going to come back. The last thing I want to do is spend our resources on things that nobody wants. It's passé. Why do it? So we really have to spend time in terms of the challenge. Each and every one of us, every single department, what am I going to do to reach out to those students that don't live in our residence halls or apartments that are right here on the campus? We should reach out to them also. And obviously we should work with Aaron and others on that. But these other students, there are students, even the ones that are more than 15 miles out, find ways to do some things when they're here on campus. Connecting students from high school, I could have said from elementary school. If I've learned anything in a short period of time, is the importance Fresno State has to the Valley in general. And, I was at a meeting that I think Francis Pena was with me. We were invited to this United Way. There were a bunch of people nationally who came in, and they were talking about the Valley and what we could do with the elementary and high school students and how we could make life better, lots of different things. And they brought out a study that they had done that compared Appalachia on the East Coast to the Valley. Now, I'm very familiar with Appalachia, growing up on the East Coast, having family in the Carolinas and doing a lot of time, all over the East Coast. And when you say Appalachia, at least on the East Coast, everybody's like, poorest place in the country. That, lots of challenges. All the metrics they showed us at that meeting, the Valley was worse. That blew me away. It just really, really blew me away how this area could be worse. Now, I'm not saying there aren't some pockets of middle class and some very rich people in this area. There surely are. But when I saw those metrics, I thought, again, we have to reach these students, elementary school probably, certainly early high school, to start getting them on track and understanding what a college education may do for them and how important it is for that gap not to keep getting larger and larger so they can't get here. My wife's an elementary school teacher, and both in Texas and here, she will tell me how she's got kids in 4th grade who are reading at a 1st grade level. So imagine if they're doing that at 4th, keep doing that out. 8th grade, maybe they're reading at a 4th grade level or 3rd grade level. How does that kid then compete for college? Obviously, we can't do it all. But we have to work with our partners in the elementary and junior highs and the high school. I know our outreach staff do a whole lot of stuff with all these folks to do everything we can to help them to understand and be excited about what a college education might do for them. I know we don't have space for everybody in the Valley to come to Fresno State. I know that with Impaction, we'll be moving some people appropriately so initially to the community colleges and then hopefully to Fresno State. Hopefully the chancellor and the governor will give us more spaces for more students as time goes on. This last year, we did as well as we've ever done, getting 681 more spaces for students. But it's very clear to me that we have to hold people's hands from the minute outreach is out there, through the time they apply, do their FAFSA, get here, transition them through dog days and all the programs and all the services that you all do, make sure they have their financial aid done, have the greatest instruction, supplemental instruction and tutoring and mentoring and advising and all the things that we do. Have wonderful programs that connect and involve and engage them because they're first generation and they're not going to understand some of these things. Market and inform them so they don't ever come to us their junior year and say, geez, I never knew we had a career development center here, or I never knew that we had tutoring and supplemental instruction. I mean, I know that's not your fault. You're doing the best you can, like I am, but that's where you have them. You message everything over and over and over ad nauseum until they get what we have here for them, because they just don't always get it. And then we got to help them with internships and getting jobs and doing resumes. And I know the Career Development Center is talking about having a clothes closet because some of them don't have the right clothes for things. And helping them get that job so that can change their life, their family, and then hopefully the cycle that some of these people are in changes. And now it's a different place. Now that's a huge challenge for all of us. And God knows that none of us are God. But we have the opportunity to really do something special for a lot of people. Maybe we can't do it for everyone, but there's a lot of them. I'm guessing there's a lot of people in this room who feel that they had the same opportunity, and whether they came to Fresno or SUNY Potsdam or some other school in California, New York, Kansas, wherever you came from, that for us, it changed a lot of our lives, and we now have a pretty good life moving forward. The annual report, the next slide, basically, as I said, you're going to get it. I think you're going to be really impressed. It's the thick version of everything, and it really gets into a lot of the things that all of you have done. As we move to the 2015-16 goals, next slide, Mary, these are all the things that we've been talking about. New advising model, the outreach center, and the student success part of it that's in Maxine's area. Our student services center that the enrollment folks in financial aid have put together. Food security, we've talked about that. The testing center, doing some things there. The union, we've talked about all these enhanced services. Next slide, Mary. Number of things happening in the health center in terms of our victim assistance program that Lisa is putting together, our behavior intervention team, the integrated care model that they've talked about. Phase 1, hopefully Phase 2, and the union projects. We have a lot of good challenges as we move forward. The challenge of the challenge really is going to be how do we get all these things done? There's a lot there. And, I often say this, but I'll say it again, and actually I had one of my colleagues, she was interviewing for another job. She worked for me in Arlington, and she's looking to move on someplace else, and she said to me, sent me a text yesterday, I have a reference for her, and she said, I had my interview, went really well, probably about 10 things you used to always say, I said, and they seemed to like it. I said, okay, good. And then she said, and I even use start, stop, and continue, which I used to say ad nauseum, is that there's some things we're going to start, but there's some things we have to stop. If we assess things and we're not getting bang for the buck, these things aren't working, and 3 people show up, stop spending money on it. Stop spending your time on it. Move on. It may be what you think is the best program since sliced bread, but move on. I've had to move on with things like that. But start, stop, and continue. That's 3 words, but very important words that everybody should be looking at, because what you spend your time with, it's not just the money that we have, it's the time. Our time is the most valuable thing that we have, because the time you're spending on initiatives, for one thing, takes away time for something else. And if something else is going to be more impactful, then that's what you should do as you move forward. Those of you that know me, you can blame this on a number of different things. I have big shoulders, I can take it. But I have a sense of urgency. I've always had a sense of urgency. It's who I am. I wish maybe the counselors can analyze me at some point for free or something, and 4 or 5 of them say, okay, here are all this guy's problems. But I do have a real sense of urgency to get things done. I always have. I want to get things done because I believe that our students deserve these programs, these services, these initiatives that we do. I believe that's what they pay for, and that's what we should deliver. So it's not ego, and it's not something I want to put on my resume. I'm so far beyond that. I really don't care about my resume anymore. What I'm all about is taking care of wherever I am, taking care of our students. Obviously taking care of you in the best way I can also. But I'm here, it's all about the students for me. They are my number 1 priority. That's why I come to work every Someday I will be gone. I will retire. I will go teach again. I will do whatever. I'll play golf, whatever it is. And somebody's going to come behind me, and with all of you who are still here, and you're going to go maybe in a different direction in something. That's fine. That's the way it should be. But right now, I have a sense of urgency with these challenges to get things done. And I need all of you to work together. All of you. Not just Lydia and me, not just Jessica, me and Lydia, or Janelle. All of you. I can't, if you have petty jealousies, if you have, things from the past, get over it, move on. I cannot afford any of you not to work together. I cannot afford any of you not to communicate with each other and be good teammates. And I'll talk a little bit about the book that I gave you to read. I have to model it. You need to model it. We all have to model that. There's just no room for it. We all have to give each other feedback, things we do well, things we have concerns. Obviously, be nice and be professional. But that's, I would rather have people honest with me and direct. Hopefully not in front of 300 people, but say you suck, right? But I would rather you say that to me in a meeting with me, that you're really upset with me in some way about something. Because I think when you get to know me well enough, you know that I'm very analytical, and I will think about it, and I will say, maybe I could have done that differently or better. Maybe I could have been a little nicer, or maybe a different. Or, there may be some times I say, I hear what you're saying, Francine, but, I really feel like what I did was what I should have done, in that situation. And, we're just going to agree to disagree. We're still going to be friends, and we're still going to work together. We're still going to be good colleagues. But, I don't even agree with my wife on everything, so why would I agree with all of you on everything? I mean, I love my mother, but we don't agree on everything. I call her every day on my way to work. We're very close. She's 88 years old, and I'm her little boy. And, but I don't agree with everything. Sometimes on the way in, she gives me opinions on stuff, and my head's swimming. Oh, my God, Mom, why are you talking about this? But you know what? I love her. I care for her. I'm there. I'll be there for you, but we're just going to agree to disagree sometimes. And that's okay. Now, the buck stops with me, and there are going to be times where I'm going to say, Carolyn Kuhn, you're right. You got it. That's a better idea than the one I had. Run with it. Go with it. Get it done and let me know how it turned out. There'll be another time where I'm going to look at Maxine and say, what? No way. I'm not going to do that. What are you thinking? She'd say, well, I thought it was a good idea. I said, I'm not feeling it. So, and I may have to say, Maxine, I get it. I know where you want to go, but there's some things that I know about the university or what's going on at the cabinet or some things in the community. We're just not going to be able to do that. And I always try to be respectful about it. I'll never say, what, like that. But it's just the way it is. And so there are times, I work with President Castro all the time, every day on something. He sends me tweets. He sends me information. He asks me to follow up on things. He asks me questions, and I answer, and here's what I think, here's what I don't think, we talk about things. I go and have meetings with him. I was talking to the directors group the other day, and I said, I hear sometimes that people feel they're micromanaged. I said, I don't know that I've always agreed when people say I'm micromanaged, because sometimes their definitions, in my opinion, are kind of off. And I'd say, well, here's the way I work with these things. I get together with the people on my executive team, sometimes with the director of the area, depending on the situation. We talk over their goals and initiatives, where they want to go, what they want to accomplish for the year, and have a good discussion. Sometimes I see it in writing, whatever way we have time to get it done. Sometimes I'll agree, hey, that's great, wonderful, love it. Maybe this one, I've got a couple of opinions on it. We talk it through, but at the end of the day, we come to a conclusion. And the conclusion is, this is what we're going to do. As I said, sometimes I give and say, yeah, got a better idea than I do. I'm not all-knowing. Sometimes I'll say, I spent a lot of time in that area, and I don't think this is the right way to go. And so you might have to concede a little bit. But at the end of the day, we come up with a plan. And when we get a plan, then we go out and execute it. And that's you. I have, 30 departments under me, almost 300 people, plus all the stuff I do with the president. I don't have time to micromanage anybody. So I ask you to go out and do it. You get it done, and then report back to me. What you don't get to do is once we agree on something, you don't get to change it all and then come back and Lee says, well, Frank, we talked about that, but I had a really great brainstorm in this beautiful dream the other night, and I decided that I'm going to go in a totally different direction, and I didn't tell you, and this is what I did. That's not going to make me happy. It shouldn't make you happy if any of your staff do that. And certainly not to me being good teammates. So I want to be clear. I don't see discussions and getting things to a point where we agree upon something and then later we go with it as micromanaging. If you do, happy to have a conversation with you individually, and hopefully I'll try to win you over to the Llama side. But, we might just agree to disagree, and then you're going to have to adjust to what your thinking is on some of these things, because I really believe that we're a team and team works together. But that doesn't mean I do all the stuff, and that doesn't mean you do all the stuff. It means we come to a compromise sometimes, or hopefully we're on the same wavelength. Feedback loop is so important. I send out billions of emails. I don't even know. Every university I've been at, I usually get a message that says, you've exceeded your number of emails that you can send. And here I haven't. I have no idea, because I think Zimbra is not the greatest email system in the world. But I haven't gotten it yet. Maybe that's the only good thing I love about Zimbra. I think the only thing good about Zimbra. But, my expectations, again, for all of you know, if I send you something, or particularly if I send it to you and the president sends it to me, my expectation is you're going to get back to me as soon as possible. And if you can't for any reason, then at that point you should send me a note and say, I can't get back to you because I need to do X, Y, and Z, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can, but it may take me 3 days or a week or whatever. Feedback. I will do the same for you. You ask me, hey, I'd like some money to go to this conference. We don't have it. I'd like to participate on the NASPA advisory group. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do the other thing. I guarantee you that I will return a message to you within 12 hours. Because I'm pretty on it, or shorter. I guarantee you, unless I had some kind of really bad memory on something, that you're not going to get zipped back. That's how we have to treat each other. Again, a sense of urgency to get things done. And I used to say, one of my friends used to say, well, is this on Llama's time or is this on Texas time? I used to say, Llama's time for this one. This one can go. Because there was a culture of things being really slow sometimes. So, not that I'm trying to bash any of my Texas friends, but they were a little slower on some things. Let's go to the next thing, Mary. So, next one more. Yep, okay. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this, but for some people over time will ask me things like, what's your style of leadership? What are the things you read and all that? And I have a list somewhere. I have to find it because I did it in my last school. People would want to know what books I read on leadership and especially some of the young staff who want to be a vice president someday, say, well, what's helped you to better understand, do what you do and be who you are and all that kind of stuff. I'm a big fan of leadership books in general. I've read so many of them. I gave you the one this year because I really loved it when I read it on vacation in Cancun. But Kuz and Posner is definitely one of them. I believe we use that a lot in the Leadership Center. Is that pretty true? Okay. But modeling the way is for all of us. And that to me is we all are responsible for what we do, how we do it, how we interact with others, how we do our business. Inspire a shared vision is a lot about what I was talking about. That's us working as a team. It's us having dialogue. especially if there are things that cross different departments and you're going to collaborate, you got to get to a shared vision so you can execute it. Otherwise, you got people going in a different way. Challenge the process doesn't mean that you come to my office and pick it or sit down kind of thing. But what it means is, and we'll get to it in a little while, is that if you feel that some things should be different or you have opinions on things that maybe seem to be contrary, that you have the ability to access your boss, your colleagues, me through an email or a meeting to talk about some of these things. What it doesn't mean is the meeting after the meeting. It doesn't mean the water cooler, so I have a meeting and then two of my AVPs are at the water cooler after and say, oh God, Lummis, he's really driving me nuts today again. And then we start talking about all the things they didn't want to do. And then at the meeting, they didn't say anything. That's inappropriate. That's not what we're about. That's not what we need as far as teammates here. If you don't like something, if something's bothering you, if you want to talk through some things, if you feel something's going in a different direction, let's talk about it. Let's try to get to it. I will be very honest, and I know sometimes people don't like when I say this, so I'm just going to risk it, but I have been doing student affairs work now since I got out of college. I was an RD initially and a director of housing, and then from the age of 25, I've been in the vice president's office in one capacity or another. I did not always agree with my vice presidents, but I always had this kind of metric that as long as about 75% of what was going on I was cool with, as long as I wasn't being asked to do anything that was illegal, uncharacteristic, not of integrity or character or whatever else, that I was okay. But if I ever get to a point where I get below that 75, or I feel that I'm being asked to do things I just cannot support or do things, that's when you shouldn't be at that institution. And I have left institutions for those reasons. I will self-disclose. There have been times where I've gotten to a point where I have said, I don't feel this person's a person of integrity. I do not subscribe to what they're doing. I don't believe in their vision. I don't like the way they treat people. They've asked me to do some things that I just can't in good conscience do. That's when people should really think about, are you in the right situation? Hopefully you'll never feel that way here. You'll never feel that way about me or any of the executive team or anybody else. But that is really part of, who we are and what we do. And any of you who are taking courses in your master's or PhDs or whatever, I'm sure you talked about a lot of those kinds of things. It's important for us to feel comfortable. And the worst thing is to come to work every day being unhappy. Unfortunately, I've had that before. Not often, because I don't stay long when I feel that way. But if you feel that way, that's when you should have a conversation with your supervisor or with me or someone and see if we can fix it, see if we can go in a different direction. But the last thing you ever want to do is it's just front it, act like everything's cool and nothing is. So challenge the process. Enable others to act. I think all of us, we all help. We have all these new initiatives, and Francine now has acquired a number of new people she's working with, and probably different than we've been here about 20 years? Yeah, 25. So now all of a sudden, even though she's been in the same position here for a while, now she's got a whole new team, she's got a little bit different, enhancements that we're doing and all that. So the idea is, how is she going to now adjust and enable the team to act? Because she's had to do a lot of these things on her own, probably, because we had her and Jessica only there with one staff assistant. And that was a pretty sparse crowd to get all the things we were asking them to do. So again, as you get these resources and you get some more money and you get some staff and whatever, now how are you going to relook at what you're doing? And encourage the heart. That's one of the things that I try to do more and more all the time, and I would say probably one of the things that's the hardest because of my inclination to get things accomplished and then move on to the next thing. But encourage the heart to me is really all about celebrating. We just, again, picked as one of the best places to work for minority-serving institutions, best places to work in student affairs in the country, one of five. One of five. Last spring, we were picked as one of the best places to work in general by the same group of ACPA and The Ohio State University. And so, if you don't clap for that, one of the best places to work, whether you think it's one of the best places or not. Some other people do think it is. So, and I can never figure out when they do all these things exactly. I filled out a survey, I talked to some people, I gave them some information, but that's kind of cool. We're one of 5 places. That's kind of nice. You're in lofty air here with all this stuff. So, the Maxwell book, I'm just going to mention a couple of things from that, and then I want to move on to some of the other things, the questions and things. But I read the book, as I said, this summer. I was on vacation. I usually take one book that's just a fun book, and then I usually take something else because I get sick of either book, and so I go back and forth. But I really like this book, and I really felt that it was something that we should share with the division. And I wanted to tell you why it was important to me to share it with you. There were a number of quotes that were in there that I'm just going to mention a few today. One was, if you think you are the entire picture, you will never see the big picture. None of us are islands to ourselves. None of us can get anything done without others. If you do think that you can do that, you may want to have conversations with your colleagues. It's impossible. I know I can't get things done without all of you. For you to think you can do things just by yourself is pretty tough. People have been known to achieve more as a result of working with others than against them. That was one of the quotes in the book. If a team is to reach its potential, each player must be willing to subordinate his or her personal goals to the good of the team. I do believe in that kind of thinking. Teams that win have players who continually ask themselves, what's the best for the rest? They continue to set aside their personal agendas for the good of the team. Winning teams have players who make things happen. Catalysts are get it done, can-do people. He stole that line from me. I say that all the time. Rotten attitudes ruin a team. Good attitudes among players do not guarantee a team's success, but bad attitudes guarantee its failure. Attitudes have the power to lift up or tear down a team. Teammates must be able to count on each other when it counts. Your team will reach its potential only if you reach your potential. I'm going to take a little side note there. I know that we don't have 100% happiness on the fact that your vice president has asked you all to do a professional development plan. The method for my madness in all of this is that I want each and every one of you to be able to improve for yourself so that you can grow and develop. This will help you, especially those of you who have aspirations to move up in the organization. But even those that do not have aspirations, the method to the madness is we should all be improving every day so we do our jobs better. I come in every day thinking I'm going to learn something, and I've been doing this for 38 years. I think you should always walk in every day and say, what am I going to learn today? It may not be a huge thing, maybe a little thing, but hopefully you're continuously learning as you go along. So that's my little side note for why I asked you to do that. And if you don't know that you're supposed to do that, you should talk to your supervisor, because this is the second year we're doing this, and obviously the information isn't cascading down to you if that's the case. Every human being has value, and every player on the team adds value to the team in some way. I certainly hope that that's the case. Service, excellent customer service, taking care of our people, developing an entrepreneurial spirit, respect for all people, building strong relationships, doing the right thing, not doing things right, giving back to our communities. And the last thing I had here is leave a legacy that lasts longer than we do. I think with my sense of urgency, the other thing that I always think about is when I have been anywhere in whatever position, when I was an RD, when I was a director of housing, when I was a dean or associate VP or VP, is the place that I work at better, or has there been a difference because I was there? Is there something that I have done that has made it a better place? And I hope that all of you will ask yourself that question. Is Fresno State a better place because you're here? Is Fresno State students served better because you're here? Is our division stronger because you're here? Is our university stronger? Is what we do with the community better? And to me, that's part of what being a good staff member, administrator, faculty member, whatever it is that you are, is very important to me. And so the last thing I'll say, we have some Fresno State caps for you. I don't think we have them here today, do we? So each and every one of you will get a cap this year, and on the back it says Division of Student Affairs and Enrollment Management. And I believe one of the things we did is order some more shirts. When we did the convocation, it say Fresno State established in 2015, and we're asking that all the managers get us the sizes up through to your AVP or executive director or whatever, so that we can get you all, hopefully the sizes will coordinate with the shirts we have left and all that, and we're giving you all that. We expect to do a tailgate sometime this year like we did last year and invite people to that, and so more to come on that. I hope we have a great year this year. I'm there for you. If there's anything that I can do to make you or your area better for the future or support you, I am there for you. Supervisors get a little bit, what's the right word, antsy if everybody's just coming directly to me, because then they're not hearing about stuff. So please make sure that, if you want to have a meeting with me or feel you need to send me some kind of email on some things, that you're working through it with your supervisor so they don't feel bent out of shape on any of this. So with that, thank you for all that you do again, and I'm willing to answer any questions that you have today. Have one?
Yeah, I just have a comment more than a comment question.
Okay.
I know you were talking about the characterization of Fresno State being a commuter school, and when I think about it, I don't necessarily think about the commute itself. It's more, and I don't know how much research exists out here for our students, but how committed or scheduled our students are. So it's not so much of an issue of their commute, but we're challenged sometimes because the students have competing obligations that they are make it difficult to engage in our activities. So I'm just curious if you are aware of any information or know of any research about our students.
Sure.
I knew a little bit about work commitments, but not so much about home and other commitments.
Right. Well, that's an interesting comment and question. I found the same case when I was at my last institution, and we did some surveys, and then I asked Jessica to do a survey this past year about just going out to our student workers to see how many jobs they were working, how many hours, to see whether it's a myth or a reality. What I found when I looked at the numbers, and maybe some of you would disagree with me, but the numbers were not as large in terms of them working and the hours they worked, and some didn't even work, that kind of like the reality of what I had heard from so many people, that the reason our students don't do things is because they work so much. Well, at least looking at our sample from the Division of Student Affairs, that didn't really play itself out. So I think there are ways that we can try to get at that through surveys, through focus groups, through other kinds of assessment things. I found that to be the case at my last institution. I did a number of different things like that, and what I found is that there were a lot of myths, and they're not realities, that it was more about what, having, as I said before, the right programs, the right services at the right time. So some students Yeah, they may work at night, and they may not come to night programs, but they might be off on the weekends. Some may work on the weekends, but they could come to programs during the week. Some programs, like we do now, if you do them at noontime or, at late afternoon. So I think there is something to be said, but a lot of the articles that I've read, sometimes it seems like it's overstated, that people actually do not work as many hours, do not have as many commitments, and are certainly open to things if they're the right things. We got to test it. It's kind of like test the theory. Go out and do the things, do the programs, do the services. Maybe we should consider some of our offices doing some, extended hours, and instead of maybe alternating, 1 week have an office open, let's say from 6 to 8, asking people to come in late and stay later if they can do it. I don't know. I don't know the answers to it, but I think we have to test some things to see whether or not doing things a little differently. But I can tell you my experiences. I've been to 3 or 4 institutions where there have been more students that live off campus than on campus. Some have been considered commuter, some have not. And in each case, it's really about, do you have what they want? And if you don't, if you close your facilities at 6 o'clock and nobody's here, well, why not? There's nothing for them to do. If you don't have any activities, again, why would they just hang and walk around campus? So I think that's the kind of stuff we all have to take a look at, honestly, is we got to test it and see and try it through programs and through our services and other things and see where it goes. Every campus is a little different, but my past experience has been such that you'll get a fair number of people coming out to things if you have the right programs and services. Any other questions? You're getting warmed up. Now everybody's got questions.
It's because somebody broke the ice already. So first of all, I just want to say thank you. I see challenges more as opportunities, and I think they should be seen opportunities just in the region here on campus as well. Second, I just want to say thank you because as an undocumented student that went to Fresno State, as I already mentioned, with no documents whatsoever, now we have the Dream Center, which is a great resource. It's going to be great, and I can really see it. The only thing I would like to ask about that is to do more education about that population specifically here in the division.
Sure. We're very fortunate that we've been able to get the funds to do some things. Maxine and Francis and a whole bunch of other people worked on a proposal that got moved forward, and we decided that we're going to kind of split things just for everybody to know. So our outreach services area, where Raul is, will be more about reaching out to the community, fundraising, working with students, having peers, kind of getting them in the door and understanding and navigating the university and all those things. And then at some point, a little bit of a handoff to Maxine's area, and we're looking now to hire another person where that person will get them more integrated with support services and tutoring and all the other things that we do. What unfortunately, and this is a philosophical thing for me, I really wish that we had enough money to have all of our programs in some ways more standalone, where we could put tutors and advisors and everybody in every one area that we have. But we really don't have the funds for that. We don't have the staffing for that. We don't have the space for that, quite frankly. And so my philosophy is that we'll have a Dream Center, and Raul will do all great things he's been doing. We'll have another person in Maxine's area who will do wonderful things, but then they have to connect the dots to all the offices, whether it's financial aid, whether it's the Career Development Center, whether it's tutoring, supplemental instruction, whatever, where we have our professionals in all of these areas, advisement, etc. And so philosophically, that's the way we'll move with all of our areas. I mean, even the Cross-Cultural and Gender Center, yes, we'll have people there, we'll have a place, but when these students have issues or concerns, that staff can only go so far with those issues and concerns. So let's say a Latino student has issues, they're depressed or whatever. Francine is not going to sit down and counsel the student, beyond getting to know what the issues are now. We're going to move them over to the counseling center. We have a great counseling center with people there And so this is where we're teammates. This is where we make referrals. This is where we help each other. So the next thing to come with the Dream Center is we've got to carve out space. And we've carved out some space in the University Center, and then Maxine is looking to carve out some space along with some of our other programs and some synergy with other programs in Joyelle. So these things take a little while to get all the way we want, but we're you got to start somewhere and you got to move ahead. I think your issue of the whole idea of knowing who these students are and everything, I think there was one point when we were doing the report that at least 3 of my colleagues had a different number. I was like, we can only use one number. I can't go to the president and say, well, this is Raul's number, this is Maxine's number, this is Francis' number. We got to have one number. So we've got to find a way to make sure that our students get registered somehow within the systems that we have, so that, within some boundaries we know. And then, as you said, we really need to make sure that all of our offices are trained, very well trained, on how to work with all of our populations, whether they be the dreamers, whether they be Latina students, whether they're African American students, whether they're Native American students, LGBT students. We have a lot of students that come to us in different ways, and so that's where you as a department could have some training and maybe go through some programs. Maybe it's an HR program that we have on campus. Maybe it's something a cross-cultural center does. Maybe it's going to a conference somewhere else. That, again, gets back to what I was talking about in terms of a professional development plan. We need every office to be able to work with all of our students in whatever way they come to us. LGBT, transgender, racial, ethnic, men, women, whatever it is, older, younger, migrant, there's just so many different groups. So, thank you for the comment and the question.
Yeah, a comment. I just, want to thank you. I think I really enjoyed your words this morning. Thank you so much for that. And I think the other thing, we all within the Division of Student Affairs bring our own skill sets, our training, our work experiences, our life experiences, and there's diversity amongst us, but there's so many things that we all have in common, and one of the most important is our humanity. And I think that one thing that we can do that makes a huge difference, each one of us, each and every single day, we have the ability to make a student feel good about being a Fresno State student, to feel good about being a student, about being a human being, about, being here with us on this campus. And many of our students, as we all know, are very stressed. There's many challenges, including poverty, and our freshman students, making those transitions that go along with being a freshman student. But you have within yourself the ability to be kind, to be sensitive, to be respectful, and to be patient. And, my years at the counseling center, I oftentimes will hear students say, hey, there was this one person that I had an interaction with today, and they just made my day. On the flip side of that is, gosh, I went over to this office, there was a staff person there, and they just about broke me. So what you say, how you interact, makes a huge difference. And we're here to serve our students, to be kind and to be respectful to them, as well as to our co-workers. So.
Great comment. That's so important. You have the ability to either make people feel really great about being here and welcome and a part of things, or if you're having a bad day and you take it out on them, that's the impression they're going to have. Great comment. Yes, Andy.
Okay, Dr. Holmes, I just wondering if you could talk to the audience. I know this because I get emails about it, but your interaction with the president and his views of student affairs and student success and how that translates to what you're doing in our division.
Sure. Well, the president and I work together every single day, and I can't think of a day we haven't communicated since I've been here for 15 months on something. I would say we're very much of like minds. I haven't found anything we're not yet, so that's a good thing for me and hopefully for us as teammates. Even my kids who have met him and his wife and met his kids at functions or different things we've been at. I think it was Isaac, his son, said, well, I know how they like each other. They're really a lot alike in so many ways and think alike. So that's a good thing. We see the world very much. We have a lot of experiences in common. We both studied the same kind of stuff academically in our higher ed programs. We see service to our students, and we both are very committed to particularly our students that have the most difficult time navigating the university. He has just been fantastic to us. I mean, we have gotten a lot of funding this year for positions, for programming, for special requests, and he's committed to us for the next 5 years, giving us a steady stream, because quite frankly, what I found very early in my time here is that we were really running a deficit in our division, a fairly substantial deficit. And so when I went to him, I said, well, are you aware of this? And he's like, no. I said, well, it's going to make it really hard for me to work with my colleagues to get us to the next level if we're running deficits. And so he's been great at committing funds, and he's been nothing but supportive of us. And he's very much in sync with the work that we do, being very important to our students, and sees that we really, particularly this number one goal, which is student success. And student success is such a broad term. I mean, student success is what she was just talking about, is how we treat people and make them feel a part of the university and welcome them and advise them and do things with them, to all the things that we do. So I have never in my entire career worked at any university, and I've had some really good bosses, some not so great, but he's been the best. He's been the best at supporting. He's been the best at being there. He's been the best at really, seeing our value. And so it's really great. I mean, it's really great. I mean, I wake up every day knowing that there's someone that's got my back, and it's someone that really supports what we do. All of you do, not just me. He's a big communications guy. You see him tweeting, and that's what the president gets out there to a million events and different things. I know that some of us sometimes will say to him that you can't believe everything you see online, and I would say about 98% of the stuff we get either has another story or the story is distorted. But the way I look at it, it's just like it used to be in the old days, where I'd get a letter or I'd get an email, later on, and we just follow up. And that 1 or 2% where there was a problem, then we deal with it. I don't get bent out of shape. I know sometimes people do. I just look at it as, hey, he's the boss, his prerogative. We're going to follow up on these things. And quite frankly, I agree with him. We should follow up. I don't want to leave anything hanging out there. The worst thing is to have an ambassador out in the community saying all these ridiculously bad things about our division, one of you, me, anybody else, when a simple phone call. I mean, there have been some situations I've called or I've texted somebody or I've sent something, and they've been like, what, the vice president is, yeah, so what? I'm the vice president, but what can I do to help you? And, it's amazing the reactions to it. Now, all of a sudden, we win them over to our side. Now, every once in a while, I think Mary had told me that we had like 15 tweets on one topic. The tweets were exactly the same. Pictures were different on every one of the 10 or 15, and found out that none of them were our students. And so they were putting these tweets out that were negative tweets. So I asked the chief information officer, I said, what's that all about? He said, well, somebody must not like you guys, because they went to the trouble of putting 15 things out with 15 pictures with the same information. So we can't help that. I mean, everybody's going to love you, and everybody's not going to like you, but you do the best you can with it. But I've never been anywhere where I felt more supported, and I would be happy to work with him for the rest of my career. That's how strongly I feel about it. So. Other questions? Comments? We still have donuts left?
Yes, please, have some for you.
Looks like a lot of donuts back there. That will not be good for my waistline. Any other comments or questions? Okay, well, if there isn't anything else, thank you again so much. I appreciate you being here.